Well, hello. I didn't realise that we had the old Stadia Rokk show intro kicking around there. Hopefully, Melon sent a little tweet out. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at Melon. Melon, 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 melon. Actually, no, let's not look at Melon. What I meant to say was, let's have a look at Twitter. It's what I meant to say. Shall we look at Twitter? The old birdie, innit? There we are. It's Twitter down here. Just want to see if it sent out a tweet. And if it did, that's awesome. Awesome. If it didn't, then it failed me. Looks like it failed me. Oh, hang on. Wrong account. Let's try that one then. On the Rokk show. It's profile you want. Rocket, old feller. Oh yeah, Rokk is actually live, and there is a link, so that's cool. Goody gumdrops. Good, that works. Right, let's turn it off. Because Primo, Twitter is the devil. It is the it is the devil. It's going to be more devilish if that young Musk takes over. But in Melon, how are you, my friend? By the way, in Melon you can have it tweet out for you, but you have to be really careful. I mentioned this in one of my videos because it will do it even if you didn't mean to go public. So if you were to tweet out, if you were to go live privately, it sends a tweet out saying, hey, Rokk's gone, he's out on YouTube, and then people get upset because they can't see you. So I turn that off. There it goes. That's good. Hope you're well, my friend. I've got Google screen here, which is not very pretty, useful, or anything else. So let's just make sure this is working. Oh, this is interesting. Have they updated? Have they? That looks new. Well, firstly, let me take that away from your beautiful face and we'll pop it up there. Let me have a quick look at the design themes here, Primo, and see if they... Oh no, it's boxy. So boxy comes with the picture in the box. Can't complain about that, mate, can you? That looks alright, actually. Twitter is the devil. Okay, so... thanks for joining. I am, dangerous. I'm doing good. Helping a friend with driving duties with plenty of time to watch your stream. Well, bless you, my friend. Thank you. And for your kind comments on Bryant's video diary recording thingy, which was, I actually was really looking forward to it. Because you know when you do something, you think, that kind of felt good. You know, it felt right. And lo and behold, I think it came across okay, so that's good. This chair is unbelievably comfortable. Let me show you how comfortable this chair is, my friend. If I switch to a different camera, there we go. So you can now get a better view of what's going on here. Hang on, let me hide that. There you go. So now you see, it literally is a massive leather armchair with, you know, when you pull the thing, like the old thingy boys, and it goes, whoosh, and the legs come up and you go straight back, and it's amazing. But I zoom everything in. I'll even zoom this camera in using NVIDIA Broadcast. So if I go down to here, oh, hang on, we've got a hideous background on. Let's turn that off. There we go. So obviously zoomed in, you know all this. You've got an amazing setup in your background. Let me turn that to background blur. So the great thing about NVIDIA Broadcast is for this camera that you're now looking at, which is a Logitech cam thing, it's not the world's greatest camera. So I don't tend to use it very often. Let me just close that down, which is why I use my cam link on my Canon EOS. There we go. It's a much higher quality, I'm sure you'll agree. Trevor, how are you? Yeah, reclining at my age. Reclining is a good thing to do. Zero, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining. So this stream could be incredibly short, or we could take it for a spin. What I want to do is there are three modes of screen sharing. If these days, to be fair, in all of the web-based screen broadcasting applications, because they all use the same calls to Chrome pretty much. So they're all really using the same base software. The large chunk of cost, because I actually looked into developing a kind of a StreamYardy, Melon type Restream type application. I was really keen to do it last year or the year before. I couldn't get anyone else in my company that interested in it. They just weren't invested chaps, so it never happened. But truthfully, the actual software to do it isn't that complicated. The tough bit is paying for the streams, the broadband and all that stuff, and the servers around the world, and marketing, of course, running the business. So yeah, it would have cost an arm and a leg, to be fair. But I was quite keen to do it. So there are three ways you can do it, and this is it's the same in all of these. See, I put my mic on a stand. Up until this week, it was on a boom, one of those things you put. But I put my camera on that, so it's off the table and doesn't bounce about. And I put the mic here, but the problem is the mic is further away. I normally have it here, which, as you can hear, is a cleaner sound. And then when I put it just a foot away, you get some of the echo in. I can hear it, so I'm fairly certain you guys can as well, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. I could put it on like a plank of wood and then just extend it towards me, I suppose. But it doesn't matter. Most people tend to have their mics some distance away anyway. Yeah, I had all the gaming chairs. And I paid for a really expensive one as well, and I just found it uncomfortable to sit in it for too long. I mean, I'm a big old fella. I'm just shy of 6'3", and I'm a reasonable weight for my size. I'm not a big fella, just a tall fella, but all that kind of compression on the chair just hurt my body. But this thing, I love it. Oh, it's so comfortable. I can sit in this all day long, and I do, because this is also my office. So where were we? Three modes of streaming, and I could share my screen here, but you're going to get the old mirrored effect. So it's probably not a great way to show you. The three are the whole screen. So in my case, 2 monitors, so the whole screen of a monitor, a window, so the application window, and in the case of the browser, a tab. And what I want to test, playing a game, playing a Stadia game, is, and I'm looking for your opinion here, guys, which of those three gives the best results? So we're looking for a nice crisp image. Not when I speed around, we don't get sort of compression stuff. And I'm just keen to see, because I know, for example, Anthony, and your mama knows, he's been streaming games with Melon recently, and I have to. By the way, tell me if this gets a bit loud. Yeah, you can certainly ask about Stadia Source. I'll come back to that in 1 second, Primo. He's been streaming Melon, and in fact, I tell you what, so I've just prepped for what you're about to ask me, so that I'll show you. Yeah, he's been streaming Melon and getting really great results, so I'm keen to try and replicate what he's getting, because I can't get as good a quality as he does, and I just wonder if it's because he's really close to the Melon server. Stadia Source. Okay, primo. I noticed this the other day. Need to mention this to X2I, but he doesn't have the non-www. The prefix isn't set up properly. So what you're asking is this, aren't you? Hosted by Rokk. It's what it says. I host it. I don't own Stadia Source. I have nothing to do with them at all, other than their friends. And Victor, how are you, my friend? Thank you for joining. But my company is a web mobile software development company, and we provide hosting to our clients. So I said to Dan, in fact, I'm happy to sponsor the hosting. So they don't pay me for this. I genuinely do, as it says, hosting provided by Rokk. We provide this, and at that time they did a weekly Stadia, really popular Stadia show, so we got a shout out at the end of every one of them, but they don't do that anymore. So I feel a bit bad taking away the toy, so we kind of leave it there. And I know he would do me some favors if I asked. But if I click on it, it'll take you through to my company website. So this is it, and you're saying, so Rokk is Rokk. Yeah, Rokk the brand, let me move my logo out of the way, came before Rokk the streamer, and Rokk the company name came from my gaming activity when I had a web development company which I started in 1995, and it was one of the first dedicated web development agencies in the UK. And we sold half the company about 2 years before I sold the rest of my interest in it. And there were a good bunch of guys, and we used to play Unreal Tournament with them at lunch breaks because they were out in an office somewhere else. So we would have this kind of LAN thing going on, and we would fire it up. And in those days, you could quite happily use aimbots and get away with it, and I did. And they thought I was a legend, but I wasn't. Yeah, right, man. I mean, genuinely, the World Wide Web, as we know it today, was started by Sir Tim Berners-Lee in 1991. So genuinely, I was there very early on. Before that I had an advertising marketing design agency. Before that I was a boy. Before that I was early 20s, and I had a publishing business. All sounds very grand. Publishing business was me and my father-in-law, and the design and marketing ad agency was about 5 people. So we're not talking huge businesses. But I just got into this whole concept of web design when I had the ad agency, and I thought, that would be really cool to do all that stuff. And it kind of, one thing led to the other. We actually just built a new version of the site. This doesn't use. See if I can find the URL. WordPress, whereas we've ported it across. Is this the new one? No. Here we go. This is the new one. I mean, it looks identical, except there are some changes. There's some differences. These things here. And my favourite piece, which is Insights. I love this. I did this. I came up with this. So this works really nicely. I love this. Oh, isn't that nice? But these days I don't do any work in the company, really, if I'm honest. No, get away, Rokk. It's true. I try to avoid it. Mate, I tell you, Unreal Tournament, it was fantastic, Trevor, because we, like you've been flagging, you got lunch, you've just had your sandwich and you're flagging a bit, and then we'd fire that up, and wow, it just kicked you into the afternoon. So yeah, Rokk, the company, was named after my character that I played in Unreal Tournament, which was Rockster, I believe. I think it was Rockster. And then when I set this company up in 2002, so it's 20 years old, God blimey, I just decided to call it Rokk. Couldn't come up with anything else. So any interesting that you jumped on that didn't work out? We were the first. So we were the first, one of the first in the UK to do web. Certainly the first in the Southwest. We were one of the first to build mobile apps, and we also got involved with some other technology, low energy Bluetooth, and some other bits and pieces. So that's what I do with my YouTube stuff as well. I'm always experimenting. I'm always looking for trying different things out and seeing what works and what doesn't work and stuff. But yeah, we've got a fairly even now we've got a fairly decent client base. Right now we're working on stuff for the UK government. We've done stuff for HSBC. I don't know if this connection works. I haven't tested the site yet. Yeah, we did a business hub for their clients. But mostly today, to be fair, it's mobile apps and stuff. But any road up. So yeah, we were doing that, and I offered Stadia Source. We would take over their hosting. Good afternoon to you, Jeff. Hope you're well, my friend. Yeah, the interesting thing, Trevor, is I'm not qualified in anything, my friend. I kind of scraped through school, and I went to what we call college. I don't know if you, because you guys call university college, don't you? In the States. Sorry, Trevor, I don't know where you are, but 75% of my audience watches from America, which I love that fact. But yeah, so I went to college for 3 months, didn't like that, it was too academic. So I came away from that, and I went into, I was a trainee real estate agent, or estate agent as we call them, for a little while. And ultimately got into working in magazines as a typesetter. Portsmouth! Love Portsmouth. Love it. And I tell you why I love it, Trevor, because my daughter's there at university, and my wife was there yesterday buying a wedding dress for a friend down at Gunwall, is it? But yeah, she's studying at Portsmouth Uni. We're down there quite a lot. My eldest has just finished her degree at Exeter University in archaeology, and she's going to Bournemouth, which I know is not quite next door, but a million miles away, to do an MA. So I know the area very well. Very well. We love it. I love Portsmouth. It's one of my favourite places in the UK, and really hadn't been there before my youngest started at uni down there. But anyway, that's Rokk. And I was going to show you very quickly this is my original Twitter account, which has got the Rockster name. As you can see, just under 15,000 followers, and this account was here I am on the radio, little precursor to what I'm doing today. But yeah, so I didn't go to college. I didn't go to university. I skipped all that stuff. And my dad was a bricklayer. He's retired now, and obviously he just about left school, let alone do anything else. She is a female Indiana Jones, Jeff. Although I think she was a bit disillusioned in the end. She really hoped that. She really hoped that it would be more practical than what it was, but she's done really, really well. I expect her to get flying colours. Bless her. They're both amazing kids. So my youngest is doing creative English at Portsmouth, and in essence, this coming term, she'll be doing screenwriting, which is, I think, the real thing she was keen to do. Yeah, I know. You'd think I was an educated fellow, wouldn't you, Primo? I'm too lazy. That's my problem. I am a problem solver, though, and that's the thing that I've always done in my business. Right, so the first screen share, let me do this properly. Let's get rid of that screen. And those of you that maybe just popped in, what I'm doing here, other than you probably thinking, why is he showing his website stuff? Honestly, Primo asked. I don't make it a habit of showing all that stuff, because I think people can get the wrong idea and think, you're a bit braggy and what have you. But I'm not that way at all, and I rarely ever talk about that stuff. But what I'm trying to do, in truth, and if we just kill that screen off, is I'm testing. Welcome, Stadians. I'm testing the best of the three options in modern day broadcasting streaming applications, which are, he did see, Primo's telling you, he did say, he did ask, he's telling you. and the question that I don't understand why Trevor, why am I not seeing, there you go, now I've got you up on screen, excellent stuff. Portsmouth's a great place. So I want to test the three options, which are full window, i.e. the monitor, application window, and Chrome tab or browser tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire up Valhalla, because it's not kind of constant battling, obviously in Stadia. And we'll start with entire screen, I think. There we go. And it's going to be that one. So that's now coming along. And what we're going to do is we're going to see, I guess the criteria for testing are, hey Zero, watching it on your new PS5? Yes! Oh yes, I loves me my PS5, and I love the fact that you can do all this stuff. The only thing you can't, they got rid of the internet browser, which is annoying as anything, because we'd be able to play Stadia and stuff on there. But anyway, so what we want to know, the criteria for testing, as we do these three, we'll won't stop and start the game. We'll continue the game, just like me game streaming. But what we will do is I'll pause it and flick it into a new one, and I'll say, so the first one's going to be full window, I think. I've just said, did I do full window, guys? They don't at the moment, Primo, but they're not going to get a lot of choice. Of course, they've got PS Now, so why would they want to entertain anybody else? I suppose that's how they look at it. I keep forgetting that I could put you up on screen, because we've got Melon going down here. So, first one's going to be full window. I just want to double check on that, make sure that it is. And the way I'm going to do that is to do what I did just now. My memory's awful. We're going to kill it off, and then we will bring it back. And the first one is entire screen. So this is essentially the whole monitor. There it goes. And then we'll give it 2 seconds to load in, and we'll pull it up. Right, here we go. So I'll fire the game up, and we'll run it around and have a little look and see. It could be quite loud, and I don't have a huge amount of control. Let me just see what volume. Okay, you guys let me know if it's too loud. I'll turn the game sound down rather than mess about with microphones and stuff. But Valhalla takes a while to load. Doesn't matter what platform you load it in on. They've got a whole bunch of this thing which you can't get rid of, and other stuff. But it's a massive open world game, so it's to be expected, I suppose. And there are 100. I think I've got 100. We'll have a look in a minute. I think I've got invested about 183 or 184 hours into this. But I'm one of those people, if I start a game and I'm enjoying it, I will go to the end and complete the thing. Is that really loud compared to my voice, guys? If it is, I'll just turn the game its volume down itself. Also, I think I'm right in saying that it's not very stream friendly from an audio point of view. I think even this little piece of music, if I remember rightly, it whinges about. Yeah, so all of them do, Primo. Primo's asking, does Melon take up any processing power? The answer is yes, because ultimately you're still pushing everything up to Melon, and Melon are then passing it out to the various platforms. So if you're not game streaming, then it's just your camera and microphone, and then it pulls everybody else's quickly. Yes, it's above your voice, thank you. Which is fine, because let's get that right down. We're not worried about the sound. And they do, I know I've been copyright struck before from Valhalla. They don't like it up 'em. What we'll do is we'll take the music right down, we'll take the master volume up to 50, and we'll take the sound effects down to 60. That should do us. And there you go, look, 183 hours and literally, 7 minutes and 12 seconds from 184. Vet, hello me darling. So yeah, it does use processing power. If you are just doing your camera, then it's considerably less than OBS, because OBS is just a big old beast. It's a beautiful application though. And oh, at the beach, good on you, bro. Yeah, it was a lovely sunny day here today as well, but probably not in your league. Right, so I can't see, let me just come out there a second. I can't see how this looks, so I'm going to rely on you guys. I could actually fire it up. Oh, there he is, Rokk streaming. Good stuff. There's the little fella. There's the little furry-faced fella. This should be going out at 1080p 60, or at least 1080p. I think it does 60 as well. Oh, look at this. Primo's at the beach and working. There you go. On a Saturday? What the heck are you doing, my friend? Put it all down and have fun. Good to see you, Vet. Hope you're keeping well. Brilliant. It's always awesome. And thank you guys for popping in as well. Brilliant stuff. Right, so this is the full screen, and we'll just go with continue. Hopefully, again, if the noise is too loud, I crunched it down. I can. This is all because Anthony gets a really good quality stream, and I haven't been able to. So I thought, well, I'll experiment with the settings. Now this is mouse and keyboard. I'm just watching it on YouTube, but not very well because there we go. Okay. Yeah, it looks okay at the moment, Primo, because it's static. It sounds too loud anyway, so I'm going to get that sound effects down. Sounds like I've got a bad case of the wind. Just a little bit of noise. There we go. That'll do. That'll do. Yeah, so basically what we have is when it is static, when there's no movement in the game, it will always look good. So I just, hands off, just leave it like that, be great. But yeah, you're right. You see, Primo, the minute it starts to run, and this is what I was wanting to test, we try this on all three variants. The minute she starts running around, I don't know why she's in the snow and ice either. What are you doing in the snow and ice, girl? Let's get out of there. That's when you get that pixelation come in. There you go. Now, this could be a number of reasons. One of them is the, hey, I can't see. We're doing some experimenting. We've got Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and this is the most recent DLC, Ragnarok. I've completed everything else on the game. I really do love this game. But we're testing to see which of the variants within Melon, and let me turn that flipping banner off. Why have I got that there? Gives us the best fidelity. I guess that's the phrase we're looking for, isn't it? I don't even know why you guys are seeing that, because it's not on my screen. Weird. Anyway, it's hidden away now, so that's good. Oh, it's back again. It shouldn't be there. It should stay off. So yeah, when it's like this, it looks okay when it's static. But the minute you start to throw her about the screen, and this is a good test here because we've got all the snow flying around, and that will always cause fun and games with compression. Yeah, okay. So that's the full screen. And this is why I mean we don't need to change the game, because what I'll do is I will literally get rid of that. Oop, not me. Get rid of the game screen, and we'll now share the window. So the application window itself will share that now. There may not be any audio on this anyway because it doesn't give you an option to share the audio for window. It only gives you it for tab and full screen. Right, so now then, let's see, which by the way is not the end of the world, because all I would do is mix the game sound in with my mic via my Wavelink. So looking at this statically, it looks a bit better, I think. Let's run her around a bit and see, because I've actually got YouTube up in my window, so any second now she should start to. Here we go. Let's see, I've stopped in real time and we'll see how it's looking. I would say there's some compression there, but it is definitely better than the full window. What do you guys think? It definitely does look better, you know. I mean, still nowhere near as good as what I like to do is use OBS at 1440. Yeah, on a mobile Primo, that's always the thing, because it will, obviously you're looking at something the size of a business card, so it always does look good till you whack it up on your full screen. Oh, what's this over here? I don't even know where I am in the game. Oh, cutscene. I mean, it looks great on my Melon screen here, but I'm looking at what happens once it goes up through Melon and over to... Can you hear the audio in the game, by the way? Oh, she's blue and cute. No audio. Okay, I know. And then I will continue talking because it was quite loud in my ears. Let me just take that one down to there. Yeah, so definitely a better, slightly better, less compression. So what we'll do is we will now get rid of that screen. And the final test, there are other options, but for now, the final one, whoops, no, didn't mean that one, is a Chrome tab. And this one does have audio, so it might be quite loud. Apologies in advance.
Jotun, you and Loki are both mad. And Hirokin is just as bad.
No worries, Primo. Thank
and
you, my
Thor
friend.
is so stupid he might as well be mad.
Right, so this
You
is now
spread chaos
Chrome
wherever you
tab.
go. Yet,
Obviously,
you
at
are
the
all
moment, there's not a
known
lot going on,
quantities to
so...
us. Surtur is not.
Oh, look at that. Russia,
He
let's look at the
rarely
news.
emerges from this
Russia
corner.
scraps
When he
age limit
does,
for
He
troops
shares little with us.
as Putin urged to hold
Thus,
talks with
while
Ukraine's
here,
leader. So
I
what's
have
he going to do,
sent my
bring in
spies to learn what he
13-year-olds?
plans.
Wow.
Beyond wiping out the dwarves like he did the elves of Alvain.
What do
So
you
I'm
know of
seeing
his plans?
some
I know that
compression,
he found a powerful elven
but
relic,
until I can run the
and that his
character
minion,
around,
Calder, was tasked
which
with
I'll
finding the
do.
Rokk necessary to sustain it.
Let
That
me
Calder
see.
is now trapped
What's
within
the-
said relic, and that you would have me join him.
I must trade the Salakar for my son.
You. The one who almost killed
I mean-
Suttungard for his meat. We'll hand over
if you're
a
playing a
legendary
game
relic.
like
Take your son and leave.
Resident
Just
Evil,
like that.
does Melon have video backgrounds? Well, yes, it does. Yes, sorry. I don't think you can technically upload a video, but you can certainly use overlays that have an animation
I cannot take the
aspect.
risk. With each breath, Baldur is a
And
step
if
closer to
I
death.
hide the game and go to settings, I can show you what I mean, and then not quite the same as what you're talking about, but I can upload a video and overlay myself. I mean, there's a number of options. If I bring the game back in, I can obviously do the same thing that we do. Oh no, she's about to have a scrap. I'm not ready for a scrap. Let's pause it. I can obviously do what we do in any of the shows where we show you a screen, but also we can, there's other options. There's this one where we can minimize it, but as you can see, I've now got covered up by video, which is, so you'd have to kind of sort yourself out there. There's this one which I think is actually isn't that bad either. That's quite a good one because you've got a fairly decent size version of your streamer, and the game is still a reasonable size as well. And I think this is great if you're doing like an explainer, or an AMA or something. So those are the kind of key ones, and then you can just do the tiny sort of over the top stuff. But you were specifically asking if you can do background videos, so I couldn't upload. I can upload video. In fact, let me do that. Let me find something. If I go to deeply relaxing video, and if I can find one that's not too big. Okay, one of these should be fine. Don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Gonna press play. Well, I mean, I'm over the top of the video, but that's no different to me just having the game, etc. And I can't change the size of the video, any of these videos. I'm hoping they'll change that, but you can't at the moment. Wave, which I'm keeping my eye on because I think it's got a lot of potential, does allow you to resize bits and pieces. Similar kind of application to this, and similar kind of price. So what that was, by the way, is a piece of video that I've used in one of my recent deeply relaxing videos, if you've seen my new channel. And then there's another 4 of those that I've looped together and then put some music over the top or underneath it, and that works really nicely. So the answer is kind of, I guess. However, what you can do, and let me just kill that video, get rid of that, and go down to design overlays. What you can do is you can use animated overlays like this, so this cloud moving thing going on. I'm assuming it's a GIF, but and I know that they did bring out animated PNGs at one point or another, but I don't know that you can use anything other than the ones that Melon provides, because the only option to upload an overlay is a PNG or a JPEG, and neither of those traditionally would be an animated format, if that makes sense. Right. Oh no, behind the cloud. So yeah, kind of lo-fi doesn't really answer the question, but the answer is no, in the sense that I couldn't have me as a, if I hide this, I couldn't have that background as a video, which I think is what you were asking. I can have an overlay over the top, but I've yet to find out how to create my own animated. I don't think you can. And of course I could have a video running in the background, but I can't center myself like this. As you've seen, I'm off to the side doing that kind of thing. Now, I don't think Restream can do that either, but I haven't used Restream or StreamYard in a while. And of course you can, if you're using OBS or Streamlabs OBS, you can do anything you want. and the overhead there is the additional processing power. And I've always, see, I maintain that this is perfect if you just want to do guests like I do with Rokk Show, but I'm just keen because Anthony does a cracking game stream with it. And he says to me, yeah, it's got better and better, and if it suddenly drops off, he refreshes the screen. But quite honestly, I've never achieved the quality that he's achieved. Right, so we are in the game. I'm actually going to quit. I'm going to quit out of Valhalla because it was good. It was excellent. Always is. Because I don't, it's not brilliant for what we're trying to experiment with. Maybe Destiny's the one. Again, the old noise is going to come in here. What else have we got? I tell you what, I keep playing the same games. I've got so many games in my library. Let's have a little peep and see what would be good as a test in here. This, you're probably saying to yourself, what the hell is that? I can't tell you. I'm under NDA. But suffice it to say, it's a game coming to Stadia. And myself and a few others are in on their beta testing. So hopefully, I know you can't tell what it is from this. And they would kill me if you found out. So you don't know. And you won't do until it comes out. I'm not even sure when it's coming. Dave, how are you, bro? How are you, my good friend? Good to see you. Thank you for popping in. We're just experimenting with the best format for Christopher. How are you, bro? And thank you for listening. I hope my voice brings you a level of calmness in your busy day. What have we got that we can play? I was looking the other day, but I want something with a bit of runaround to it. Destiny's good for that. Mafia 3 is an awesome game. Don't know if you guys, there's so many games. How can anybody say that they haven't got enough games here? But I wanted just to play something that I haven't played for a long time, if ever. Sniper Elite 4. Been playing Sniper Elite 5. Francisco, wondering what your thoughts are on the rumours. Let me just pull up Francisco here. Wondering what your thoughts are on the rumours that the porting tool for Stadia allows you to port a game in weeks rather than months. Yeah, well, I was talking to Bryant from the Nerf Report the other day about this when he was recording our interview, and he was waiting on some info at that point from some confirmation from Google, which I think he's had, because I noticed that he put up a video today which pretty much covers this. He'd heard that you can port it in a week, certain games. Well, that suddenly brings it in line with GeForce Now, because it takes them a few days to port. You know, they're basically they're just taking an existing Windows game, porting, you know, adding stuff around their UI UX, and then shoving it into a Windows environment. So, you know, but what Stadia have been working on is this amazing automated way of taking a game that's been maybe originally designed with Windows in mind, and automating the whole porting process. Kind of needed to happen, and you know, it just takes away any concerns that the studio has about the time that they've got to invest. Christopher says, have you tried Foreclosed? I bought it and still haven't played it. Yeah, I same thing. I think I've got it in here. Let me just have a look. I may not have it now that you say that. Yes, I do have it. I did play it for a while actually, mate, and I thought it was good. But for the purposes of, you see, it will probably look fine on here because there's not a lot of fast motion going on, and any game that hasn't got a lot of speed is not going to be an issue. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, yeah, here, static screen looks great because, of course, all of these applications, Restream and StreamYard and Melon and so on, they're really designed for me to share a static screen, so that, you know, here's the latest news, or here's a photo of my Auntie Mildred, or what have you. I'm just going down to the bottom of the list because those, I think I've got it set, filtered on, it may be no, it's not alphabetical, LMNO. Yeah, the sort of time I last played anything, I think. I don't think I've ever played NBA 2K20, and I know I bought it. I think I bought it on the basis of it was like $3 or something less. Why wouldn't you? And yeah, Stadia Americans. David, 70 odd % of the people that watch my stuff are stateside, which is amazing. I really love that fact. Chicken Police was fun. I haven't finished it, but tell you what, I haven't fired up Watch Dogs in a bit. Let's where's Watch Dogs Legions then? It should be in here somewhere. We'll do a random, right? I'm not going to look, and then wherever I stop, what was I? No, not Hello Neighbour. Keep going. I don't want to do that. What about Pac-Man? Pac-Man? I'm no good at Pac-Man. Oh, that was going to be such the way forward. Have you guys ever played Republique? That's quite a good game, That's one that... noise. Sorry about that. That's one that's largely overlooked. It's actually a pretty cool game as well. Right, what am I missing here? Sorry, guys. David says... It's got to come out of that screen. Here we go. Dave says, Lo-Fi Monk, honestly, man, I feel guilty for sleeping when I'm missing streams. I know what you're saying, buddy, but I need to get a solid night because I'm not far away from passing out on someone's stream. I'll turn the sound down as soon as the game kicks in. Sound. And music. There we go. Good little game, this. Good little game. Yeah, I've been like that a bit just recently as well, and sort of feel like you should go in and say hi, and before you know it, the night's gone. What else we got here? We should be getting a slew of games. Well, I can promise you, you'll be getting that one, and it's good. It's worth the wait. Yeah, bought it, never played NBA. It's not a popular sport in the UK. This is the problem, isn't it, Christopher? It's not. I mean, a lot of the big American sports, NFL, NBA, really not massive in outside of the States. That still sounds a bit loud to me. Let me turn it down a bit more, and then we'll give the game a go. Dee. Music. Go on right down there. There we go. Perfect. Talking about sound. Wow, I spent my afternoon at a theatre watching a live performance of Les Miserables, Les Mis, and I tell you what, it was bleeding brilliant. Loved it. Not played Republique, says David, but been meaning to get around to it since it came pro. Yeah, it's a good game. I played it a while back, I think on PS4. I can't remember exactly. Peppa Pig, and why not? So let's have a quick look at it, shall we? It's I've got keyboard going on, but that's okay because the way the game works, and I've done 2.6% of it by the look. So you are, from memory, escaping from some institution, and you control, a bit like Watch Dogs, you control cameras, and when you've controlled a camera, you can then look at a computer and control it and unlock a door and all that kind of stuff. It's an indie. I don't think it's massive, to be fair. So here I am at a camera. You are getting a tab here, which in your part of the world, David, I believe is another name for a cigarette. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember how to play the damn thing now. That zooms it in on a camera. At the same time, I'm looking over at YouTube to see what this game quality looks like. Of course, to be fair, if you're going to be streaming Stadia, the best thing you can possibly do is use Stadia streaming tools, because of course they're sending the game from their servers. And yeah, a smork man. And but the thing is, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I haven't done it for a long time, but I don't think you can mix your camera in. You can obviously mix in the audio, but I don't think you can mix in the camera.
Did you go?
No, it wasn't me. Can you hear the noise, by the way? Or is there no audio at all? I can't remember if this was the one that had no audio. Right. Is that me down there? Camera. Omni version 1 required. Battery. Thing. Resume connection. View controls. Select pickpocket. And it's all stuff, isn't it? It's stuff. It doesn't know me too well. You do hear it? Okay, Trevor, thank you. I wasn't sure if that was the case. Alright, there's another camera. Let's come out of thermonuclear. So that sends her to where I think that's us anyway, that little character down there. So where you drop there you go, when I click is where she's going to go. It's that kind of a game, basically. And there we go, we've switched over to a new camera. What's this? What's an elevator? Of course, I haven't played it for so long that I haven't a clue what our objectives are. If I hit escape, it wants to send us out. Menu, M for menu, M for map, there you go. And you can pull it around with your mouse. I could play it with a controller. I've got one here. It's just that I had my hands on the keyboard and mouse, so I thought, well, I'll do this. Investigation, a thing. First floor, 1F. And then that kills that off. Here we go. So this is who we be. Rena Strober. She's this is set in some kind of future fascist state, and not too dissimilar to the world we live in today, funnily enough. Possession of contraband, serial offender, scheduled for recalibration, no less. So that's, what do these do? Banned books, tapes. I think these are just collectibles, to be honest. So come out that one. That was I. P-A... Oh yeah, that's us. That's our keyboard stuff going on. Do we have to choose where we want to go, or do we just did the elevator take us there? Yeah, that's where we already were. I don't know if you guys are into BioShock, by the way, but if you have a PC, Epic are giving away the entire collection of BioShock complete until, next Thursday, I think? It's not, though, sadly, on GeForce Now. So you need to install it. And I'm not 100% sure if it works on a Mac or not. Right, so there's a dude that we don't want to see us. There we go, we managed to get away from him. Can we get in there? He's coming. He's coming.
No use hiding.
Oh, too late. Quick, come here. What are you doing? So it's this kind of a game anyway. It's a bit, oh no, we're going to get seen.
Help!
Heading for the subject now.
Oh, nice.
Raise the threat level.
She helped herself. Awesome.
Help!
Go on.
Ah!
Oh,
My
yeah.
eyes!
No, kind of does it for itself. Yeah, that's what I do, Dave. Just claim everything, mate. You never know when. I used to claim even when I didn't have a PC as well, on the basis that, heck, one day. Right, so she's managed to avert being captured, but I don't genuinely remember what it is that we're supposed to do, to the extent that I'm finding it quite boring. So I'm exiting. Well, it's not much fun for you, is it, if I don't have a clue what it is we're supposed to be doing? I don't want to go back to Valhalla because it was at a crucial bit where I needed to kind of know what I was doing. So I'm just looking at the quality now. This is quite interesting because what I've got on my screen is essentially a load of static, but in YouTube I'm seeing a lot of 16 by 16 pixel blocks, which is the compression. It's driving it crazy. So I would say that the conclusion of our test is that Tab is probably the best one, but all of them aren't brilliant. There you go. That's the answer to the question. There is another thing you can do, which is you can stream via OBS, and they give you a URL, and you stream it from OBS through their servers to their multiple platforms. And that works reasonably well. Although they insisted to me that it would only be at 1080, but I got it to go to Twitch at 1440. So that baffled them somewhat. Okay. Cyberpunk. One of these days I've really got to finish that game off. Let's go Division 2. There you go. That's a good fun game. It's a good old Ubisoft game. Audio's fine, and the tab, yeah, because it's very much a northeast like pet, isn't it? Like you would say, you're right, pet. It's very much a northeast term, I believe. Sorry, I'm just having a look at the YouTube stream at the same time just to see how it's looking, and even I look a bit wishy-washy, which is annoying. But I've got a feeling it's as much to do with what I'm pushing up, and I've never been able to work out why. Because I'm uploading, I'm pushing the stream out up to the servers at 110 megabits per second, which isn't amazing, but in the UK it's actually better than most. And my down is a gig, but that's irrelevant because, you know, you're streaming out to the world. It's relevant in terms of the gameplay, but not. These guys don't need that kind of gameplay. Refer a friend and earn rewards. Get the exclusive Stinger Hunter outfit available only through the friend referral program. Well, that's cheap enough for anybody who wants to be referred and get a Stinger. Let me turn the sound down. Great game, this. I don't. Does it tell you how long you've played this for? Because I know I've put some hours into this puppy as well. 4 days and 16 hours, but that's on Stadia, so that's what, 24, 48, 96 hours. 24, 48, 96 hours, yeah. But that's with, I've got 2 characters, I think. Let's have a look. No, I haven't used that one. The thing is, I played it a lot on PlayStation as well. So I reckon it's well over 200 hours in this game. Well over. I'm losing my audience. I'm obviously getting boring. Anybody want me to answer any questions or any burning, interesting points you want to raise? That's interesting. The mouse is a bit. Let's get your controller up. So normally I wouldn't stream with Melon for gameplay. It's kind of just. They really would love you to, and all of these guys say that you can. But the reality is that, as we've seen, it's got artifacts. And why am I not seeing anything at all? Sorry, let me just go back over to YouTube. Why is it black? I'm seeing... Oh, that's weird. Oh. Oh, I'm not on the live. There we go. That's my fault. I wasn't on live. Yeah, 1080-60, Trevor. That's as good as it's going to get. That's their maximum output. All of the current crop of streaming dudes only do 1080-60. When I do game streaming, normally I push it out at 1440-60, just because that's a great compromise. It's when you're sat away from your monitor or TV, 1440 looks every bit as good as 4K. So it's a great compromise for people watching, and for the amount of processor that you need to process, because to process 4K you need a ridiculous machine. To run the game in real time and process it and stream it at the same time in 4K is you need a beast, to say the least. A beast, to say the least. Right, what we got going on down here then? My Division 2 buddy hasn't been back to me. We've got the whole new season to finish, and the whole of the original... God, I'm not doing too well here. The whole of the original New York DLC, which we still haven't completed. But he's newlywed. He's got other things on his mind. Great game, this, though. Oh, that was a headshot. He ducked. On Sniper Elite 5, I'm so used to putting that little... holding your breath over the top of the snipe. But it's good, Sniper Elite 5. I would just say, quite honestly, it is pretty much the same as Sniper Elite 4, only it's set in a different place. Graphics and everything else look very similar. So, you know, don't be getting no FOMO over it, because, quite honestly, you're not missing a huge amount. Shoot his feet! Oh, he swore. I haven't played this. There's a trouble with switching between games. You kind of forget the controls, don't you? How did he die? I didn't. How did you die? Some other dudes with me. I wonder if it's a real person or not. Let me go back and have a look. Oh, it's my thing. It's my little turret. Oh, bless him. Doing the job for me. How funny is that? So yeah, they brought new. They're still doing it. The thing with Ubisoft is they brought. Okay, sorry. Finish the sentence. They brought a new season out with some improvements to the overall gameplay and to what they call quality of life, which we call UI UX. And this is the thing with Ubisoft. It's really important for them to get maximum life out of their games, because they've got to keep subscribers happy and staying around. So the last thing they want is to say, right, here's Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion and Roller Champion, and then you play it for 2 months and that's it, and you've played everything and they're not bringing anything more out, and you go and cancel your subscription. So they will be basically bringing out DLCs and in-game events and all sorts of stuff for ages on all of their franchises, because it's the only way to guarantee people pay their subscription, which I think is a great thing. It's a kind of symbiotic relationship. You know, it works for us, it works for them. And they're really... I'm going to die. I can't remember the control for health. Yeah, they are really showing the way for other studios. That's the key thing. Oh, I wish you could have seen me playing Sniper Elite 5 earlier. I was killing all over the shop, but I'm tired now and I'm not getting the kills. Where should we go? Havana or Haven even? City Hall. Let's go there to that one. That'll do it. Yeah, so I can see how. See, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, Ubisoft have been planning this for a while. Oh no, I've gone to the Christmas place. And they've been building their more recent games so that they're very easy to add additional content moving forward from original release, as do, for example, Bungie with Destiny. But if you are someone like EA that makes its money every year by selling basically the same game but with new player profiles and cards and things, it's not so easy to change that ship, and neither do they want to. So this is why I think Ubisoft are really putting themselves into an amazing place. They are adapting to where the rest of the world is now with streaming services and entertainment, whereas the other big studios are going to flail and ultimately fail because they're refusing to see the advantages of moving their stuff to a bigger open world subscription stroke cloud-based future. Do. I didn't want to come to this place. The music sticks in your head for days. How about there? Why not? Yeah, so that's the thing with Ubisoft. Everything is just going to go on forever. And I can imagine we know that they're working on games that are just big open world, open-ended, play until your socks fall off kind of games. And why not? I mean, if you think about it, television got to a similar place, right? So they were making money off the back of shows like one-off shows, but then every time, or maybe a series with 5 episodes, like maybe Stranger Things or something. But every time that series ended, they'd have to make more series, more episodes. They'd have to go and sell the advertising again, and then they came up with the concept of soap opera, which is this kind of never-ending, churn of stories based on emotion and familiarity. And people watch them week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. And some of those soaps are still running. There's some soaps in the UK that have been going now for 50 odd years, 50, 60 years. And that's where I think gaming's going as well, with the studios. I think you're going to just have these games that never end. Like never-ending gobstoppers in Willy Wonka. Trevor, the standout features on Stadia for me is that any game you purchase, you can play multiplayer without additional subs. Yeah, that blew me away when I first discovered that was the case as well. I still don't understand why. I think it's profiteering, quite frankly. There's no major reason for it. The platforms say, well, yeah, we're paying for hosting and stuff. Well, put the cost back on the developer. I mean, if they weren't, they'd have to be doing it. And they probably do, in truth. They probably do. I don't know enough about their models, but the publishers are probably still paying a hefty chunk to have their games in the PlayStation and Xbox server. Omniverse. The hell have I just walked into? Keep up the pressure. But yeah, these are old school. This is the thing, and you saw it. We've seen it recently with music industry as well. These disruptors like Spotify come along, and they say, you know what, this model that actually you've built around your own interests and don't even really benefit the artist. Not to suggest, having said that Spotify does particularly. Is ripe for change, and I think that's where we are with the game. The gaming model really, just if you think about it, modelled itself on traditional book publishing. So you've got the author, which is the studio, And then you've got the publisher, which is like a book publisher, and they would basically take a massive slice of the game or book revenue on the basis that they were going to market the thing and pay for distribution and printing costs and what have you. And if you were an unknown author, they would argue we're taking a lot of risk, so they would take a bigger slice. And I'm sure it works pretty much the same way in the gaming industry. But, you know, if you then studios are getting into actually saying, you know what, we're going to put this stuff up online and host it ourselves and put it on Stadia or put it on one of the other platforms, I could see how that could be disruptive. We don't know, Trevor, to be honest with you, my friend, what the player base is like with Stadia. We can guess. And people like Jack to Slip do a pretty good job of looking at what available data there is, where it's published, and, you know, calculating how that could look. But truthfully, we don't know, and Google just ain't going to tell you. They don't see that there's any advantage for you and I to know. I'm sure they have these conversations. They must be talking to studios when they're trying to entice some of the bigger boys in on what they can expect, and they must have case studies of what's to be made revenue-wise. But it could be either direction. It could be a lot worse or a heck of a lot better. I frankly don't think we should worry too much. I mean, Stadia's not going anywhere. Cloud service. I said this on Bryant's show, I think, the other day. Cloud services in Google's world right now is its largest and biggest growth area. It's making a lot of money out of cloud services, and you know, Stadia, if nothing else, is a shop front for them to show people like AT&T what they could possibly do for their audience. And having invested so much, and us as a user base having invested so much in owning the games, they're not going to shut it down tomorrow. It's just not in their interests to do that. And also, they would be the laughing stock. How could they possibly go out there and sell cloud services, even game-based cloud services, if the first thing they get asked is, well, if it's that great, why have you shut yours down? It ain't going to happen. What's David saying here? Thing is, for anyone who wants to become their own platform like Stadia, it's going to take some years to form a real player base. Yeah, right, because most gamers already. What we're seeing is a watering down, I think. I'm right, this is my personal belief. I think that with the cloud services, we're starting to see... I mean, okay, let me approach this from a different point, sorry. Sony are clearly investing in, as are Xbox, in making sure that they've got their franchises on PC as well as PlayStation or as well as Xbox. Right. So they've already started to realise that there's no great advantage. I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, not my greatest asset. That actually there's no great advantage in maintaining market share on one platform, when you could literally, I mean, this is why Microsoft said, when they bought Bethesda, they said, well, we're not going to stop it being available elsewhere. Because why would you? These guys are not about my platform's better than your platform. They're about where can we make money. That's what they're all about. Where are we going to make our next $5 billion from? And when you've saturated your own market, and arguably... And then you get a curveball that comes along like cloud, which kind of takes you to a whole different place, the market, and you've got no choice. You've got to get on board or hope that it dies and not be the kid that gets too involved with it. None of them have done that. They've all got involved quite extensively as well. They may not market the fact that they do very much, but just look at how many of the new games that come to Game Pass these days you can instantly play on Xbox Cloud Gaming, and look at how many games Sony has in PlayStation Now, and they're already talking about all their first-party games coming out to the new Sony PlayStation Plus Premium on day and date, which will almost certainly mean that the whole cloud thing's merging. I knew they would do that eventually. I've said it on other shows months and months and months, years ago, that I expected to see that happen. So anybody that's betting the farm on a single platform, you're okay for this generation, but there won't be, I still believe there will not be another generation of Series X, Y, Z or PlayStation 6. I think it's that is not what they want to do. You may see their games come out for PlayStation 5 or whatever the thing is they're going to do next, but they're going to be largely looking to embrace friction-free platforms like cloud, and you'll gradually see people just going, what's the point? What is the point in spending 4,000 quid, $5,000 on a gaming rig when you've got solutions out there that are absolutely stunning in terms of fidelity? Yeah, that's just how I see it. Dre, how are you, my footballing friend? Hope you're keeping well, buddy. And yo to you too. Look, Stadia's only, 2019? Let's call it 2020 because it was only a couple of months into 2019, wasn't it? So, we're talking 2 years old. It's a baby. And not only that, they've changed their business model since they first dreamed of Stadia. They brought a team together that had a very kind of futuristic view of where they wanted to take Stadia. It didn't sadly align with the business interests of Google, and more importantly their cloud services in the end. But they're still really committed to it. And although I don't have a direct hotline to their Batcave at all, no, they don't. For a long time I was muted on their Twitter. What the hell? But I was. Although I do know some guys in the upper echelons of our community that are, and they're very positive. Immersive streaming, I wouldn't worry about that, to be honest with you. It's just, they've got technology. Zero says, as a Stadia gamer, I'm worried about immersive stream and games being held hostage and not coming to Stadia. Still haven't got a Batman game on Stadia. No, I don't think you ever will, because I suspect that the license that AT&T have agreed with the publisher is for them and them alone, just because their mechanism of publication is based on Stadia, has nothing to do with Stadia themselves having the license to pop it up on Stadia. Control is on Stadia though, isn't it? I'm surprised, to be honest, that Google haven't gone to, I forgot what they're called now, who does the Batman stuff, and suggested having it. That's looking really blocky on YouTube. Sorry. But, they decided not to for whatever reason. And maybe that's because of the deal that AT&T had. I'm trying to think. It was Warner Brothers, wasn't it? And didn't Warner Brothers get bought by one of the big networks recently? Like Times. No, it wasn't Times. It was Times Warner. And then they've recently been sold to AT&T. There you go, there's your answer. That's why they own the flipping thing. And they want it to be an exclusive on their mobile device. They don't own Control though, do they? That's interesting, why they chose that with all the games that they do own. That said, Control is a game, if you play it on... I originally completed it on PC. And if you put it on ultra settings on PC, it's insane. It just takes up so... Hello, what are you doing in there? You're a cage fighter. It soaks up processing power. So I think what they're trying to say is, here's a game that actually you need a really decent rig to play, and look, you can play it on your AT&T device or your AT&T data contract. I guess it may not be necessarily an AT&T leased handset. But you know what? For me, more power to your elbow. If there are X million AT&T users who are reading in the press about this new service that AT&T have, leveraged from Google Stadia, and they love that experience, but they've only got the one game, well, chances are they're going to go and check out Google Stadia. So that's in our favour, as I see it. You know, I mean, the marketing from that is probably priceless compared to paying. So yeah, I'm not overly worried. I'm not overly worried about any of this because, quite honestly, think about it. If Stadia, apart from the games you've bought, I think Stadia would give some significant notice. They would say, look, just to let you guys know, they may not, by the way, I'm just hypothesizing, but just to let you guys know, we are going to start winding down the service, and actually we're going to close it down by 2024. Well, most of the games that you've bought, and right, at that point you ain't going to buy any new ones, right? That you're not going to. And most of the games that you have bought are going to be out of date by the time they kill the service off. So you'll have probably got all your value out of them. And they might do some kind of a deal. They might say, look, you know, we're going to give you, we've done a deal with another platform or whatever, or the studio, and we're going to give you credit towards purchasing it elsewhere. I mean, there'll be that kind of a thing going on. It's just not in their interest. Martin! Hello, Cloud Gamer. Happy, how are you, my friend? Hello, it's movie night at Martin's house, but have a great stream, my friend. What are you watching, Martin? What's your movie? What's the... Martin is in Norway. And what film are you watching this fine evening, my friend? I watched the final episode of Derry Girls with my youngest yesterday. If you guys have ever seen Derry Girls, absolutely brilliant show, very funny. Kind of in the mould of Friday Night Dinner and In-Betweeners. Really good. And then we watched another episode of Prehistoric Planet. I hope you guys get that in the States on Apple. If you've got Apple, it is just an amazing show. Look at this dude. It's David Attenborough, who I think now is fairly universally known around the world. Bless him. I mean, he's as old as the Queen. And, the new 007. Yes. Have you seen it? I hope you enjoy it. It's actually on Prime, isn't it? Amazon Prime have got it. I was going to watch it again. But this Prehistoric Planet with Sir David Attenborough on Apple, simply the best prehistoric dinosaur Jurassic CGI that I have ever seen. And my two daughters are fairly cynical about that stuff, and they both said they actually forgot that it wasn't real. It just is so realistic. It's hyper real. And they approach the show like they do like the Blue Planet, where they do all the talk all about how the animals and what they do and how they survive and breed and everything else, and you just feel like you're watching a nature show. It's so well done. The 5 episodes, a new one every day this week, so today's would have been the final one. I've only watched 2 so far, but absolutely superb. If you have Apple TV Plus, I highly recommend that. Jennifer Garner looks so cute in that show. Which show are we talking about? Oh, Alias. All right. Is she, just out of interest, Zero, I don't recognise her name. Is she related to James Garner, who was one of my favourite actors. He did the Rockford Files and the Maverick. I mean, we're talking 70s here. To be fair, she might even be his granddaughter if she's related at all, because he would be in his 80s now if he was still around. I'll have to check that out. I'm always flicking open Wikipedia or IMDb on my phone. Sorry about that, guys. Little flash of white there. Trying to find a bit of info out about people. No, David, I'm sorry, my friend. Look, I was born in 1967. If you want to talk to me about the 70s and the 80s, I remember those. Right, come on, tell me, why should I know her? What's she been in? Enlighten me, and then I will tell you if I do actually know you, because I know her. Because sometimes it's just the name I don't know. But I don't tend to these days remember a lot of the kind of the big names that are around. I leave that to my girls and you young folk. I don't even know what Alias is. But I would look it up. Hang on. Right, I'll do the work. I'll do it for you. Right. IMDb. Jennifer Garner. Let's have a look. Is she cute? Jennifer Garner. Oh. Jennifer Garner, who catapulted to stardom with her lead role on the TV series Alias in 2001, has come a long way from her birthplace of Houston, Texas, raised in Charleston, West Virginia by her mother, Patricia Ann, nee English, retired English teacher, funnily enough, how weird is that, and her father, William John Garner, so no, nothing to do with Jim Garner, sadly. So, just largely Alias then, since 2001. Well, she's got a bit of a masculine chin going on, though, isn't she? She looks a bit sort of solid-faced. I don't like a feminine-looking gal. I'm not so hot on the old overdosed testosterone look. I don't know who I would say to you these days. I think is hot. To be fair, because it's a generational thing as well. You know, who was the kind of look of my youth wouldn't cut it today. Having said that, there's some beautiful women around. When you get to my age, you don't get too fussy, to be honest. Halle Berry, yes, I'm definitely with you on that one, Zero. Even now, she's an absolutely gorgeous woman. Beautiful. And she has one asset which I adore in women, and that is she has a great mind. I love intelligent, creative women. I actually prize that above everything else, quite honestly. Sense of humour, creativity, and a good intellect. Those are the key things for me. The rest of it, because you know what? Physical stuff is situational, it's relative. You know, you meet somebody in your early 20s and they've got beautiful smooth skin and everything is nice and in its right place and everything else, and they look amazing. But if you're going to get married, you're going to be with that individual long after all that stuff's drooped and faded and wrinkled. And at that point, and your libido drops off as you get older and all that stuff. And at that point, you really kind of want someone that you can have a conversation with and has a similar interest to you in stuff. And isn't always going, oh, I don't know, this is boring, turn it off. Can't be doing with that. Salma Hayek. Hayek? Rings a bell. I didn't know Jennifer Garner, though. I've got to be honest with you, David. Even seeing her face. But then I don't think I've ever watched Alias. Oh, I've lived a quiet life. I've lived a sheltered life, chaps. Oh, I got out there just quickly. Quick enough to get me health back. There we go. But yeah, I agree with you on Halle Berry. Beyonce, she's very attractive. Who else have I used to really like Jennifer Aniston, but just recently she's not really doing it for me anymore. It blew up. It blew up, Tid. Awesome stuff. Luckily for me, having been married for 31, 32 years, I still find my wife attractive. Tell you what, that would be a disaster if that wasn't the case. But she's very young looking for her age. Not that that matters, to be honest with you guys. As I've said, it's about companionship and the ability to hold a conversation. You know, all those things, important stuff. The physical stuff changes. Funny old world, isn't it, really? It's a flipping nasty old world right now. David says, she's just a bit of an iconic celeb. Are we talking Salma or Jennifer? Wasn't just Alias. That was just her big show, but she was in the Adam Project recently. She did Juno. That was good. She was Elektra in the old Daredevil movie. Oh, I didn't watch the Daredevil movies. I loved the series, and I'd love them to do more. He popped up in Spider-Man, didn't he? The other day I watched that. I really enjoyed it. I didn't watch Adam Project because what's the name of the actor? Is it Ryan Gosling? Who's the dude that was in it? I'm not a big fan for some reason. I don't know, there's something, no reason. Seems a perfectly nice enough fella. But I just didn't really fancy the thing. Was it good? Should I go back and reassess? Ryan Reynolds. I knew it was Ryan somebody. Hasn't he just something coming out on Netflix with him? Oh, who's the other? Is it Chris Pine or Chris Evans or one of those dudes? Hasn't he got something coming up called Grey or Grey Window or something like that? I can't remember now. Netflix has been a bit hit and miss of late, I think. Sometimes they do good stuff and then they bring out a whole series on Jimmy Savile. What the hell's that all about? A gentleman, by the way, notorious as he is, that I actually met on 2 separate occasions, interestingly enough. One, the recording of a TV show that I was at the time, and the other at Royal Marine Training Camp in Lympstone, Devon, where he was a big supporter of. Of course, I was bigger than him. So he wasn't particularly interested in any kind of physical liaison. Certainly didn't give any indication. It's difficult with a lot of those things. I'm not going to take it away from what he's supposed to have done. And I haven't really looked into it in great detail. But there's a lot of stuff recently where people like Kevin Spacey have had their careers ruined by some guy 13 years ago who said he grabbed his bum or whatever. And you just think, that's just ruined that guy's life. And I'm also a big believer in people should have the right to anonymity until proved guilty. Because, people remember the first time they hear in the press that such and such did this or was accused of doing something. And then 2 years later, 2 years of hell for that individual. It goes to court. They're found innocent. It doesn't even make the back pages. But all that people remember is the original accusation. And the police say, oh, it's so that other people can come forward with evidence. Well, sorry, but who's going to compensate the poor guy that's then found innocent? And it happens. It does happen. Now, obviously, if they have done what they say, what they've been accused of, that's a whole other thing. Did I sit on his knee? Did I sit on Jimmy's knee? No, but I tell you what did happen. My then girlfriend pinched his ass, and I bet he loved that. Christ, she was worse than him. Ryan Reynolds, oh man, he's iconic in and of himself, although not everyone's cup of tea. It's weird, David. I don't have a rational reason for not liking him. I genuinely don't. I can't think of why I don't like him. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. What else has he done? He's done a load. Did he do La La Land? Maybe it was that made me think I don't really like him very much. I can't remember, to be honest with you. Very odd. I'm a peculiar chap at the best of times. Where am I? There I am. Peculiar fellow at the best of times. I'd actually be watching the TV normally on a Saturday with my famille. I've got all my girls are down at the moment from uni because it was a Christmas present from my wife. We went to see Les Miserables at the theatre earlier. It was absolutely superb. And so they're all staying over tonight. But they wanted to play on the flipping Nintendo Wii, and I can't stand the Wii. Yeah. It's a complicated and difficult topic, Trevor. It really is. It's like my dad. My mum and dad married when my mum was 18, and I've worked out that, and she was only just 18, and maybe she was 17. Sorry, and I kind of worked out that my dad was. She was probably, I shouldn't say this publicly, but you can do the maths. Now, they're still together 56 years later. But, technically, he could have gone to prison for having a relationship. But in those days, they did, because you had 2 world wars that had decimated male populations. So, you had women marrying older men for a start. Not that my dad was only 3 or 4 years older than my mum. Plus, child mortality was higher. So they tended to start having kids a lot earlier and more of them than they do now. Now, you know that if you're going to have a child, unless you're really unlucky, it's going to get through at least childbirth and early schooling years. So there's less of an urgency to have kids. So, there's all those things. It's a different world. And you're right, though, that it's a difficult topic. At what point do you judge or not judge the past? I've had this conversation over the whole statues thing, and but to be fair, there are some things, like, did you know, for example, and they don't make a big thing of it, that the royal family, yes, Elizabeth and co, her great grandfather started the world's largest slavery business, the Royal Africa Company. They captured and sold more Africans around the world than anybody else ever. Never hear them apologising about it. But they did, and mostly to the States, mostly to America. The Royal Africa Company. Look them up. It's in Wikipedia. But, what do you do? What do you do? You can't say, well, look, you know what? If I lived then, I would have done things differently, because you would have to have been subject to the culture and the thought processes and your general intelligence at the time and everything else, which, of course, we're not today. We've got the beauty of hindsight. Apex edition. That's interesting. wonder what's the difference. Oh, I think it's extra skins and stuff. I haven't given old Skylines a go, but I think I need to. The reason is I think I'd need to really focus on it, to be honest with you. I did give Le Mode a go, but I didn't get into it as much as the other dudes on Rokk Show. They were loving it, but I couldn't kind of. I've got Valhalla Ragnarok. It's weird that it tells me it's like it's part of Ubisoft, isn't it? Different times. But having said all that, there's no, we can't. It's like the poor old Aboriginals in Australia. Now, back in the 70s, they were apologised to, but their culture has been decimated, and Native Americans, of course, in America, oxymoron. They still to this day have only really had lip service, and I always maintain that the people that got away with the most were the Romans, i.e. the Italians. Although interestingly enough, I think of Rome. When I think of Romans in Italy, I think of them occupying the entire boot of Italy. But southern Italy only became part of Italy, I think about 100 years ago. And prior to that, it wasn't. It was occupied by different countries, including Northern Africa, which is quite interesting. But the Romans got away with it. I mean, they went all over Europe, destroyed indigenous cultures. They got rid of the Celts and the old ancient Britons and so on in our land. And of course, if you are in any way, shape or form religious, you will know that they also crucified Jesus. And yet the Jews have got the rap on that ever since. They got the bad rap for it, but it was the Romans. The Romans would get away with everything, because to this day their culture permeates. It permeates. Anyway, get a bit heavy there. So I'm just thinking, whether do you guys want me to continue, or have you had enough? The British Empire is not anything to be proud of, David. Not to be proud of at all. But we aren't the only ones. The Dutch have had an empire, the Spanish have had an empire, the Portuguese have had an empire, obviously the Russians have had an empire, the Germans have had an empire, obviously the Italians have had an empire, the Greeks have had an empire, the Egyptians have had an empire, and the Americans have had an empire. So we've all of us have had a crack at it at some point. Cloudy Validation, how are you, my friend? Thank you for popping in. I was just asking the chat whether they want me to continue, or whether they've had enough of my warblings and would rather that I called it a night. But I'm happy. I don't have any specific game to play. One of the things I struggle with, why I don't do a lot of games, is because I'd rather chat than play games, but I just think you would be bored stiff looking at my face all the time. Okay, so you want to talk proper history. So David says, yeah, but didn't the British Empire do basically the same things as the Roman Empire in terms of how it changed and organised the world? No, not really, is the honest answer. The British Empire was an industrial empire. The Roman Empire was a militaristic empire. And the Romans used a thing called the client state, which Americans have used. And they've basically, and they're using it right now in Ukraine as well. So they basically, what they do is, and Africa, they're about to do a load of work in Africa again to this end. And kick rocks your bum. What? Kick rocks your bum? What the Romans would do is that they would go in, befriend the leader of a tribe, ply them with a load of dosh, and the leader of said tribe would kowtow to them, and it was a fairly synergistic relationship. But the English would just kind of go in and take over. We weren't the only ones. Portuguese, Spanish. Spanish, I mean, talk about the Spaniards and what they got up to. Look at South America. Wow. Am I a history buff, says David. I love history, but this is the thing with me, and I'm honest as well. I always say I'm one of those people that knows a little about a lot. So, if you're a specialist, you know a lot about a little. You're a specialist. And I'm a generalist. So I know a lot, a little about a lot. So, I could have a conversation with you right now about the fact that Liverpool were hoping to get the quadruple this year. No one's ever done it, but they're probably going to settle with the triple. Now, I don't support Liverpool and I know very little about football, but I know enough to know that I could have that conversation with you. And it's the same with history, but I am a massive history buff. I do. But what I love about history is social history, how you and I and our ancestors lived hundreds, thousands, millions of years ago. I couldn't give a stuff about elitism. I don't care about kings and queens and lords and ladies and knights and castles. I don't care about them. They have had a monopoly on history for way too long. What I'm interested in is how you and I lived, how our great-great-grandparents lived, or how prehistoric people lived. That's fascinating for me. Not the whole wars. We fought them and they fought us in 18 this and 10 that, and then it was king this, and I don't care about them. They can maintain, that's just their family history. I really couldn't give a stuff about elitism. But yeah, no empire is a great thing. I don't think. It doesn't have a place today, that's for sure. So there you go. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Trevor's on holiday, still off on holiday for 10 days on Tuesday. Anyone else off to faraway shores? Where are you, Trevor? You not in the UK then? No, I'm not a royalist at all, David. I've got no problem. I've got no beef with the royals, but I hate elitists. They're what, funny enough, Donald Trump referred to in a book I read as the Lucky Sperm Club. There's nothing amazing about them. Turkey. My brother's just got back from Turkey, funny enough. I'm off to Corfu in 3 weeks, I think. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Looking forward to that. That should be cool. Actually, I'm really keen to do some streaming from the holiday gaff. That'll be fun. But yeah, no, I'm not a royalist, David. I don't think there's a place in the world today, quite frankly, for what is a medieval doctrine. And the ordinary people of this country, until fairly recently, lived in a state that we would classify today as slavery. You may not have been forced to work for a lord or a lady or what have you, but for a lot of people, that was the only way to work, and they were treated fairly appallingly. The poor in this country, well, sadly, we're going backwards right now, quite frankly, and it's appalling to see it happen. It won't be long before we're back to Victorian England times, quite honestly. But cloud validation, I concur. The less power, the better. Good people love good people. Yeah, our biggest enemy keeps us divided. So true, my friend, and chained to their focused financial system. Yep, too bad we can't just barter and trade. Absolutely. When we could swap, you've got a pig and I've got 6 chickens and I love pork and I've had enough of eggs. Funny enough, I love eggs, and then the whole deal's brilliant. Yeah, Primo, I think we're getting to that point, my friend. That's the thing. I think we're getting to that point, aren't we? And nature will survive. Doesn't matter what we do to this planet. We'll only end up killing it for ourselves. And then nature will... look at what happened around Chernobyl when we wouldn't go in there for decades and decades. Was it 82 or 84? I forget now. And, even to this day, you don't want to go to certain parts of it unless you're unfortunately a conscripted Russian soldier, and you don't have a lot of choice. But what happened? Nature moves back in. And then in no time, they've got native species like wolves and bears that had died out hadn't been seen in the area. And it turns out, for some bizarre reason, animals are quite capable of dealing with radiation at levels that we can't. So nature will be fine. The world will be fine. It'll be us. We won't be on it. Bring on the 40 days and nights I learned how to swim. Do you mean bring on the 40 days and nights? What does that mean, my friend? 86 was it? It was even later, Trevor. I knew it was a long time ago. It was the year I met my wife. There you go. That was a radioactive bang. Oh, humans are cuckoos, aren't they? I mean, we don't fit on this planet. Everything has a purpose. Everything somehow fits into this ecosystem where if there are too many deer, then predators move in and then they take the deer population down, and when there's not enough deer they spread out, but we don't seem to be privy to any of the laws of nature on this planet. You can totally see why people think we somehow got here from some other planet or civilization, because we just don't seem to fit. Quite bizarre. But I firmly believe there are two types of human, and I think it goes back to there's two things I like to do when I think about where the world is. Right, I tell you, make me a bit bigger. Where am I? Here we go. There's that one. No, that one. Let's get rid of that. There you go. I always think there are two things you need to think of when you're thinking about dogs. You need to bear in mind that they're actually bastardized wolves, and everything that a dog does is essentially a hangover from its wolf DNA. All right, so we think they love us. They don't. They just love to be part of a pack, and they roll over in crap because they want to hide their scent when they're hunting. I mean, everything that a dog does has a basis in being a wolf. Equally, I think everything we do has a basis in our very early form of being a very early Homo sapiens. And if you think back to how the culture would have been in a small clan, you would have had those that were more socially minded. So they would have organized how, the structure, the hierarchy within the civilization, within the local clan, and maybe they would have been a teacher and they would have remembered the history and stuff, and they would have taught and they would have done art and everything else. And then you would have had the guys who were hunters and protectors, and they would be much more minded towards being more physical and more likely to be in a fight scenario with another clan or hunting an animal. And if you come all the way up to now, you could say that almost fits into the realms of Democrat and Republican, in the sense of you've got one strand of people that are less emotionally intelligent and think that winning is the most important thing. And that they will beat you in a sport or in a war or in a fight because survival is all. And then you've got the other people that go, no, I'm the judge, I'm the police, I'm a teacher, I'm a scientist, I want to learn, I want to teach, and I want to progress society, and I'm not interested in hunting and killing and protecting and so on. And both of those types of people had a valid reason for existence in a social setting like our ancient humans would have needed. The problem is today, do they? But they're still there. And there is, I've read recently a piece that said that your political thinking, whether it's left or right, is at least in part genetic. And that would be right, because if your ancestors were the hunter protectors, or they were the stay at home and cook and educate and learn and create, then that's what you're going to take forward. So I think there's a lot to be said there, but the key thing is understanding what makes us all tick, And rather than look at it as a them versus us, which is essentially what cloud validation just said is what the elites do, divide and conquer. They set us against ourselves. We blame immigrants. Oh, the reason we're all poor is because of Mexicans. The reason we're all poor is because of Ukrainians and coming across into our country and doing and all of that. That's standard fodder to it's the playbook of setting people against each other. And I just think that's we've got to get beyond that. We've got to evolve. We were getting there, and then Putin, sadly, richest, one of the richest nations on earth, ploughed shed loads of money into trying to disrupt the West, and funded the growth of the far right across the West. And we're now suffering the consequences of that. He is going to get his comeuppance, but what he's sown is going to need to be dealt with for a long time to come. William, how are you, my friend? Great to see you, by the way. I miss having you in these kinds of conversations because I know William and I, we're both on the same level. Gangs of New York has an interesting quote. It's easy to pay half of the poor to kill the other. Yeah, and I heard a great one the other day. If you don't stand for something, let me get this right. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. There it is. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Love that quote. The reason we're all poor, says David, is because the money and resources are being stockpiled away and held against general populace. Yeah, I mean, there's an economic policy introduced back in Ronald Reagan's time, and the Bushes as well, Republicans, and it was called trickle down. And the concept is that you give massive tax breaks to the wealthy, and the money permeates its way down through society so that everybody benefits. In reality, the idea, and it's a sound idea, is if you give massive tax breaks to the wealthy, they invest, they set up new businesses because they've done it once. Why won't they do it a million times? So they set up more businesses, and the working population benefits because we end up with great jobs and more money and stuff. But it doesn't friggin' work. Because they keep the money. They put it in their bank accounts in the Cayman Islands or Switzerland. Or they invest in politics, which is what we're seeing now with the likes of Elon Musk and Larry Ellison, and the Koch brothers and the Barclays and the Murdochs. So, the theory is a good one. The practices, they never work. Never worked, never will work. As David said, yeah, it trickles up, absolutely, and Stadia Pro Gaming says, trickle. The only thing trickling on me was them peeing on me. Yeah, absolutely, they'll pee on your back and tell you it's the rain. Exactly how it works. Anyway, I'm getting too deep for this, and I just had a little text from my youngest to say, Daddy, have you finished streaming yet? She's not that young, she's 18. But in fact, she just texted again to say, now? Are you coming in now? So this, by the way, I love these conversations. This is my favourite way of communicating and streaming. But I'm always fearful that one, it gets a bit too serious and heavy, and not everyone shares my views, and I appreciate that. Because ultimately, I may moan about Conservatives and I may moan about Republicans, but I have some great Republican friends and some great Conservative friends. And all I want to see, I genuinely don't favour one particular stance, but we need to get back to the middle ground, the centre, because it's never good if it's extreme left or extreme right. And life and politics is like a pendulum. And when somebody pulls it one way, to the left or right, and holds it there long enough and lets it goes back, but the momentum shoots it past the middle and it goes up the other end. And we need to be in the middle, in the centre, because that's the place that everybody really wants to be. Should be laws against what's going on right now. Big businesses, big banks, the reason why the housing market pricing rose, yeah. absolutely. And of course, you're all very familiar with what happened in 2008. And the banks and the lending institutions got away with it. Not one of them went to prison. Yeah, there's a massive issue. No question of it, William. I love America. I have been in love with America since I was old enough to talk. Ahead of all my peers at the time, I just was fascinated with America, and I am to this day. And I know Americans are baffled about that, but I don't think it's any different to the fact that most Americans I've met are fascinated about Britain. And to be honest, if you ever do come to Britain, you will see that we're very, very much an American culture now, in terms of what we watch on TV, how we dress, what we eat. I think we have a mutual relationship. We always have had, but I do think that the two-party system is not working, and we've got a one-party system that's even worse. I mean, we've got others, but there's no power there in Britain. But the problem, yeah, you've got with the Republicans all but controlling the Senate. I mean, enough to make it impossible for the government, the Democratic government, to do anything. And of course, there's no way in for a third party. But the best governments in the world ever have been coalitions. And most countries in the world, in the Western world, actually operate with a coalition government. We did for a bit, we don't at the moment, but most of the the really well-performing economies in the world, because you've got checks and balances, but everybody has a positive input and can make things happen. And when you have a situation, whether it's blue or grey or red or whatever, and they have all the power, and they've got 4 or 5 years to destroy the country, which is what's happening with us right now in the UK. That's not good for anyone, and power corrupts, so total power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I was trying to remember the phrase. That's kind of what's going on here. Zin Hood in NL, Netherlands, Nederlanden. We've now got a 19-party system. Yeah, okay, that's maybe the extreme. I could see that could be fun. Yeah, and then Stadia program. Here in America, we need to get the gangs out of Washington. Red versus blue, Demo, Crips. And yeah, it's really well put, by the way. But I totally agree. Totally agree. And David says, parting message. It's been great discussion with you all. Coalitions are great, as you say. Checks and balances equal. Push and weight behind both sides helps us get to a closer end. And that's the thing, because ordinary people, that's what we want. It's a fight. You need leaders. Someone needs to make the big decisions. You need somebody there. But equally, everybody should have an input. And nobody should be allowed to dictate, and we're only ever a hop, skip and a jump, as we've seen. Even the most free nation on earth, could become a dictatorship, could have become, and could still become. And it's what's happening in my country right now. The rules are being rewritten so that my government can actually even avoid having a general election, and that is not good. Right, guys, I've loved this. It's been good fun. Thank you so much for jumping in and having a little chit-chat with me. I could do this quite regularly. You take care, everybody, and, the world is going to be okay, no matter what you hear, no matter what you see. We've been in the crap as a species for millions of years, and we've always got through it, whether it's an ice age, whether it's a world war, whether it's a pandemic. Good always overturns evil. It always does. So don't have sleepless nights, because whatever feels dark, the daylight's always just over the horizon. So there you go. Stadia Adventure, sorry, you've just missed it. I'm just going. Oh dear, David. I'll definitely do more of these. Thank you, my friend. And William, anytime you want to chew the fat or hop on cam and chew the fat, I'm here. Yeah, we'll do that for sure, my friend. What we'll do is I'm not a showman like Anthony. You know, he's a great showman. I'm not that. But what I will do next time we do this, I'll do the same as Anthony. I will put a link up in the chat, and anybody who wants to jump in and have a discussion, you'd be more than welcome, because I'd love to do that. Right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go and see what my little youngest wants. My wife's almost certainly gone to bed, because she does go to bed early, and she's probably sat there now saying, come on, Dad, let's go and watch a movie or something. You guys have a cracking weekend. I'm guessing it's the afternoon of Saturday now. If you're in the States, it's late evening and even later evening if you're further into Europe. So have a brilliant weekend, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. When I hit this button, by the way, don't be alarmed that the Rokk show music's going to start up, because I'm in the wrong profile and I can't turn it off. But you know, it's nice. A little bit of Rokk show never hurt no one, did it? Take care, have a great weekend, and thank you so much for joining. I really have enjoyed this. Take care.